Okay, this is Julie Pearson, Little Thunder. Today is Friday, March 5th, 2011. I'm in Gallup, New Mexico at the home of Charles Pratt. Charlie, you're a Cheyenne Arapaho tribal member. You're an incredibly versatile figure, a very important Indian sculptor. Can you tell us where you were born and where you grew up?
I was born at Concho, Oklahoma. It's a Cheyenne Arapaho Indian agency, and I went to school there.
For how many years?
For 6 years, from 3rd to 9th grade, or the 10th grade, I forget now.
You're a descendant of a famous trader named William Bent, who founded Bent's Fort. Can you tell me a little more about that, if it's on your mom or your dad's side? And
it's on my mother's side. My mother was Cheyenne and Sioux and French and English, and my father was a full-blooded Arapaho.
sometimes when you have both Cheyenne Arapaho ancestry, one will be choose to be raised, one way or the other. Did you have to choose?
Yeah. Oh, I claimed the Arapaho blood because it's more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up with without knowing my father. He died at the age of 42.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 7 years old.
That must have been hard. Were you, is that when you went to live with your grandfather around that time?
No, yes, my grandfather helped my mother raise her children.
So that was your mom's father?
Yes.
And what do you remember about growing up with him?
That he kept us under control. There was 4 brothers.
Oh.
And I was right in the middle, 4 younger brothers and 3 older sisters.
Uh-huh.
And he kept us well disciplined.
Oh.
And taught us how to make clay models.
And where did you get your clay?
He would get it from the riverbeds or river banks.
What were the kinds of things that you would and he would make?
They related to farming and ranching and horses, and we would build corrals and barns and stock them with the horses and cattle, and we'd make wagons.
Wow.
We'd make whole scenes with that.
Right. And I imagine didn't have a lot of extras for toys or anything, so that was your entertainment.
Yeah.
Did your grandfather notice that you had a unusual ability for making sculpting?
No, he didn't give any attention to one. He just taught us how to form them.
Uh-huh.
And we took it from there.
He was glad that you were glad you were occupied. Did you do any wood carving at a young age?
No, I don't remember doing any wood carving.
Mm-hmm. When you were at Concho then, going to boarding school, once you entered boarding school, was there any art instruction?
No, none. We had to work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were given assignments. We got up early and started working right away.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked in all the like the kitchen and the administration and cleanups, and even had their own farms that we worked on. I remember one of my jobs was to feed the hogs first thing in the morning early, and I pulled a cart down to the stables and fed the hogs, and that's where I got the idea for turquoise corn sculpture.
Something about the feel of kind of the dimension.
Yeah, I fed a can of corn in the slop bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Each slop bucket I put emptied a can of corn in there.
Mm-hmm.
And at later years when I was doing sculpture, I was running my hand through some turquoise nuggets, and I thought, well, that'd be perfect for corn. So I made corn out of it.
Wow. So it was like a sense memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, the focus in those days was on, of course, just learning a trade, right? Manual work, and not much opportunity for higher.
Well, I was selling my paintings. I first started out as a painter because I didn't have the equipment to do sculpture. That's what I had in mind. But I started out as a painter, and by the time I finished high school, while I was in high school, I was selling my painting.
Okay, great. Did so you were painting flat style?
Yes.
With tempera, and who were you selling to?
Well, I remember there wasn't too many people that places for you to go to sell things, and the only one that I knew was in Oklahoma City, and I went in there, and I was trying to show him my paintings, and he finally looked at them, and he said, "No, I can't use any of these." So as I was going out the door, I seen Woody Crumbo silkscreen.
Oh.
And I forget how much it was, but I asked, and I told him that I would trade him all the paintings I had. I probably had about 14 or 15 paintings, small ones, for that. And he says, "All right." And the next time I see him, that was just to get my foot in the door.
Right.
So he, next time I came in, he says, "Have you got any more of those?" I says, "Yes, sir, I got some little paintings." And that's how I got started with him.
Oh my goodness. So you hadn't, you didn't know Woody Crumbo's art, did you? But were you familiar with his art aside from that silkscreen? Had you seen his work before?
Yes.
Okay. And you kind of ended up with a valuable thing too, and got your foot in the door. Did you see Dick West's art and Archie Blackowl's quite a bit too, growing up?
Yes.
Do you think they were influences on your painting style
yes.
when you started out?
Yeah. I tried to copy them all.
That's how good artists learn. Well, in public school, Indian kids weren't always treated on an equal basis like with white kids. And I was wondering, did the public school teachers in El Reno, did they recognize your talent? Anybody at school?
Yes. Well, I'm light complected, for one thing. It's been a plus and a minus both. When I was in school at Concho with all those boys, at first it was hard because I was light complected and I was always getting into fights. And then it was a plus when I was in public schools.
Because they treated you a little better
Yeah.
because you weren't so dark complected. What kinds of, or what teachers, what kinds of encouragement did they offer, or just told you did a good job? And
Yeah, they had competitions, and I won some of them and lost a few. I'm 73 years old now, and I'm still competing against the younger generation.
and still winning awards too. One of your first jobs was at an auto body repair shop, is that right? And I think you created one of your first artworks there, in sculpture, we should say. Can you tell us what happened and where you were working? And I think you made a shield.
Yeah, I made the Oklahoma State flag.
Oh, was that your first? Okay.
Yeah, I made the emblem off of that in metal from the car parts, and I had it hanging on my wall, and somebody wanted it, and when I found out that people wanted those things, I started making them.
And you used an acetylene torch at that point?
Acetylene torch.
Acetylene?
Yeah.
Can you explain what it is for people? It's involved with welding, right? It's a welder's tool.
Yes, you can weld steel with it, and you can braze brass or metals, different metals with it.
But actually has a small flame, but it's very intense heat. Pretty small flame.
Yeah, you can get a jeweler's torch or a commercial, industrial type torches.
So you sort of, how early would you say you knew you wanted to be an artist?
Oh, I knew when I was in high school.
Okay, when you were doing the painting.
Yes.
But that first shield, state of Oklahoma symbol, did that start triggering more ideas? Was that kind of a turning point for you to get into sculpture, or did you continue your painting for a while?
I continued the paintings because I couldn't afford the equipment for the metal.
So once you started selling those shields, did the sculpture begin to kind of fund itself, or how did you actually?
I was making all kinds of things with scrap metal out of the body shops. That they were just throwing away, and I was making things out of it.
When did you place your first sculpture in a gallery?
See, I can't remember when.
Do you remember one of the first galleries you started dealing with?
I had an older man help me when I first got out of high school. I was already selling a few paintings, but his name was Woodrow Bigbo.
Oh, yeah.
And I got acquainted with him, and I would drive for him, and he made the insignia for the 45th Division of Oklahoma Army, and the Thunderbird. And so he needed me to help him drive to different cities, and he would sell my paintings along while he was selling his.
Yeah, because he was an artist, Woody
Yeah.
Bigbo. So he sort of became your the way that you got acquainted with some different galleries or outlets.
Yes.
Did you do any early mall shows, Charlie, with your sculptures?
Yeah, Shepherd Mall in Oklahoma City was the first small show.
And who were the other artists that were showing at that time?
That Seminole man.
Kelly Haney.
No. It was, gosh, I can't remember his name. Right offhand. And,
Was it Jerome? What Tiger? He's creaking the Seminole.
no. He was an older gentleman.
Mm.
He was at the shows all the time. He's always dressed nice. He always had white shoes on. He's a Seminole man. Oh, I can see him now, but I can't think of his name.
Well, it might come to you later.
Okay.
Anybody else you can think of off the top of your head?
A Davis. He was a painter.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelly Haney was one of them. You mentioned him.
Mm-hmm.
He was at the shows.
How much were you charging? Were you charging for your?
All I could get.
Which
No,
in those days.
I don't remember the prices.
Yeah, which in those days, because what was the attitude of the public at the mall shows? Was there quite a bit of interest, or just?
No, I started full time in '69.
Mm-hmm.
And so from the '60s until now, I've been doing Native American art shows
Right, full time.
and galleries and
Did you meet? When did you meet Dolores? And
Dolores was the first
start
one.
a family? Yeah.
And
Was that prior to 1969?
yes, I think it was in '64, something like that.
You know, did Dolores help with the business at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah. She was, she had a good personality. She was always willing to talk to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept me pretty straight.
Mm-hmm. Good representative when you were set up at a booth.
Yes.
Or whatever. When did you started your own foundry, didn't you, Charlie, sometime?
Yeah, I was taking my artwork to a foundry in Ruidoso, or I would send it there on the bus to this foundry, and they would cast bronzes for me. I had no idea. Well, I'd done a mall show with a bunch of other artists that were not Native Americans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I got acquainted with some of the people that had bronzes.
Mm-hmm.
And this one said he had a foundry in Ruidoso, and he'd be glad to cast my stuff. So I'd send it to him, and he'd cast them. One day I went down there to pick some up. I drove down there, and I wound up staying for 2 weeks to learn I told him I would work for free.
Oh, wow.
And just so I could learn the
The
process.
process.
And he says, yeah, I'll be glad to have you for free.
And this is
So
Ruidoso, New Mexico,
He
right?
said he built all the equipment himself. So I went home. He had a book on how he built it all.
Uh-huh.
So he gave me a copy of the book. It was just small. Individual pages.
Right.
And I took it and I built my own foundry in Oklahoma City. And
Wow.
ran it for 3 years.
Wow. So I was wondering, because it's expensive to cast, isn't it?
Yeah, bronzes are expensive. That's come to so high.
And
if you get somebody to cast them, it costs quite a bit.
Right. So when you were having the Ruidoso place cast for you, was it just you and Dolores kind of saving your money from the art and reinvesting it?
Yes.
But when you built your own foundry, that must have been kind of, even though you built it from scratch, did you have to hustle kind of? Did you get an investor to help you?
Well, I ran it for 3 years and found out that it's not what I wanted.
Yeah. Were you doing other people's work at that point? Oh,
yes.
yeah.
People started coming to me, and I couldn't get any work done.
Right. What were some of the first competitive shows that?
The first one I remember it was that Gilcrease Museum in Tulsa, and I won a prize for the Tall Cheyenne, and it was a piece of sculpture only that big.
It was a miniature.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And it was with your welded, right?
Welded. Yeah.
Wow, it must have had some beautiful detail that impressed them. Did you ever enter the Philbrook Annual?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I won Best of Show there.
Wow.
First time I entered.
Wow.
With corn.
With corn, using the turquoise, your trademark turquoise. There wasn't a lot of, there were, I guess, maybe a handful. There were many more painters and sculptors probably. And there probably weren't too many Indian sculptors working in metal. Were there in Oklahoma?
No. The only one I knew of was Alan Hauser.
Yeah.
And I've had shows with him in Chicago.
Wow. Was this in the 70s or?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And what was that like? Because that was probably new for them in Chicago. Do you have a good reception for the art?
Yes. It was called the Squash Blossom Gallery. It's in Highland Park. Mm-hmm. It's a upscale place.
Mm-hmm. And just kind of, was it a two-man kind of?
No, it was a three-man show.
You and Alan Hauser and
a jeweler from Phoenix.
Ah.
Preston Malungai.
Okay. When did you decide to move from? Well, let's ask about. I'd like to ask about Santa Fe Indian Market first. When did you do your first Indian Market show?
I think it was in 72 or 73.
And you were still living in Oklahoma City, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of a different market, a different atmosphere. What were your thoughts when you did that show? Did you just think this might be a good place to be selling art, or?
Yeah, I had people buying my artwork that lived in Oklahoma and go to Santa Fe to buy it.
I know, that's
and when I found out I lived right there in Oklahoma, they'd say, "Oh, we didn't even know it."
That's the paradox of Santa Fe for a lot of Oklahoma artists. You know, you had that small winning sculpture at Gilcrease that you told me about, but how soon did you move into larger works too, kind of outdoor sculpture types of work? Was it from the very beginning, or did you kind of find your way into doing larger pieces?
I was always looking for somebody that wanted something big.
Uh-huh.
And I always found them.
Oh, okay. So you would do the larger piece first, and then it wasn't like commissions where somebody would say.
Yeah, both commission.
Both, okay.
But I always do things that I like, and for some reason they sell.
Yeah. Because they're beautifully done. Do you have to think a little bit differently when you're doing a larger outdoor sculpture?
Oh yeah.
What are some of the things you can have to consider?
The actual size and the placement and perspective.
Okay, so you'll go check out the site, or
Yeah, you can do something large and it'll be out of proportion when you're standing on the ground looking at it. And you have to think of all those kind of things.
You showed quite a bit overseas too. Can you talk about some of the highlights, I guess, of some of the places that you showed your artwork and some of the memories that stand out the most for you?
Well, I had a one-man show in Wiesbaden, Germany, and the gallery took good care of me. And I'd done a show in Rennes, France, at the Franco-American Museum in Rennes, France. And I've done shows in Switzerland, Austria. I don't know if that's still a country now or not, Austria.
Yes.
And Italy.
Did you get to look at any sculpture
Oh,
on
yeah.
your travels?
Yeah.
You made a
did.
point.
I wanted to see the marble quarries in Carrara. I wanted to see those, and we drove up there. They was bringing things down, solid pieces as big as a semi-trailer.
Oh my goodness.
And as we were going up there, I could see the river on the passenger side. And it was just white like milk from them cutting that stone up there, that white marble, and it going down in the river.
Wow. Wow. I bet you were wishing you could bring some back.
Yeah, I was going to buy some. That's what I had in mind.
Oh.
They says we were going to ship it to you. They was telling me how if I bought some, they could ship it to me, and it would go all the way on water. It would come up to Mississippi. It would go in the Gulf of Mexico and come up to Mississippi and go to the Arkansas River to Tulsa, and I could pick it up there.
Oh my goodness. But was it just...
I didn't do it.
Would it have just been insanely expensive, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. When was the first time you did Gallup Intertribal Ceremonial Art Show?
In '69, I think it was.
From the very beginning?
Yeah.
Did Woody let you know about that show, or did you get a...
I can't remember how.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, yeah, I do. My mother used to bring me to Gallup to visit and participate in the dancing part when we were
When you had
young.
the powwow?
Yeah, powwow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got started.
Oh,
I
wow.
seen all the artists that were set up here.
Uh-huh.
So I looked it up in '69, the first time I came.
So you did some straight dancing when you were little, or tradition, or
War dancer.
more dancer?
Yeah.
Neat. When did you then make the move from Oklahoma to New Mexico? Had you already What prompted that move, and when did you make it?
It's a career move because the people buying my artwork didn't even in Oklahoma that didn't even know. So I thought, well, if I'm living there, I can do better than what I'm doing here. So in '83, I think I moved. I think that's when I moved to Santa Fe. And I lived for 23 years or 22 years there in Santa Fe.
And it's kind of a high cost of living too, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
kind of a trade-off.
Yeah.
Were you in several galleries there, or did
No,
you?
just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
And then mainly people came out to your studio to buy from you directly. Great. When and how did you meet Bobby?
I met her in Santa Fe.
At a show?
Yeah. Yeah. No, she was, there were several of us having a show with Tom Woodard, and she came to that gallery, and that's where I met her.
Uh-huh. Neat. And what does Bobby take care of in terms of the art business? What does she help with?
The book work
Mm-hmm.
and advising
Mm-hmm.
and loading and unloading.
Yes. Yes. That's a big job when you're a sculptor. Did you ever get family members to help too? Or
No,
pretty much you did it yourself,
yeah.
Bobby? You did a sculpture for the Murrah Building, and were you there when it was installed in Oklahoma
Yes.
City? Uh-huh.
Yes.
But then, of course, there was the bombing of the Murrah Building, and that.
There was 3 pieces that survived, and mine was one of them.
Wow.
They just all they had to do was set it back up. It
Wow.
was ready to go. It was metal.
Uh-huh. And did
They
it?
found it in the rubble, and they just they asked me what to clean it up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, just wash it off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So did it remain on the side, or
And
where is
wash
it
it
now?
off and re-wax it.
Mm-hmm.
And they put it, it's in the permanent collection of all of them were there. The ones that were destroyed,
Mm-hmm.
that they had the artists rebuild them or build new ones.
Oh.
And they got a collection in the library at the Oklahoma City. What is it now?
Oklahoma City University?
Yes.
OCU? I see. All
One
of them.
in Edmond.
Right.
That's the state.
Oh, okay. At Central, I think it's Oklahoma Central University in Edmond. Okay. Wow. You've been deeply involved with the American Indian Arts and Crafts Association, and they named you Indian Artist of the Year 2 years in a row in 2003 and 2004, and they also gave you their Lifetime Achievement Award.
That was in 85 and 90.
Oh, okay, thank
It's
you.
85 and 91 or 2, I forget now.
Okay. Thank you for that correction. What was that like to receive those awards from that prestigious organization?
It was a great time. It was a great time.
Robert Tsosie, who's become a well-known sculptor in his own right, apprenticed with you. Can you tell me how that came about?
I had 3 helpers in Santa Fe, and he was working for me. for 6 years. And I decided to move to Gallup, and I can't remember what year he quit, or I told him he's on his own, and he's making a living out of it.
Yeah. What prompted your move from Santa Fe to Gallup?
Santa Fe was changing, and it was getting so expensive to live there, and they diagnosed me with Parkinson's, so I had to slow down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked for a place all over the country, and we found up one in here.
And it's a really nice place that you have your studio in too. Your brother Harvey Pratt's a well-known Indian painter. Have you ever collaborated with Harvey on anything?
Where to go to dinner at? So,
That might have to be a future project. Has Harvey ever done any sculpture, and has he ever
oh yeah.
sought your advice on it?
No, he don't need my advice. He's pretty well-rounded.
You won first place in sculpture at Red Earth in 2009 with the wood sculpture, and we're going to look at a sample of your wood sculpture here at the end. Was that your first wood sculpture that you entered in a competition?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was now.
Yes, I can't think of it off the top of my head either, because I read that in the article about you. What drew you to wood after you'd worked in these other media?
Oh, I'm always looking for something new, and I taught myself how to silversmith since I've been in Santa Fe, and I've been selling jewelry, and it's just another outlet.
Right, right. And then, some of those small sculptures are almost like jewels when you combine the metal and the gemstones. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about your philosophies and practices of art. Even though you started out in metal, you do bronzes, you've done stone sculptures, I
Yes.
understand it, wood, and then diachronic glass, or not?
That's in the jewelry.
Okay, gotcha. What factors influence what medium you choose to work in? Is it because you kind of have an image in your head and you know that it's going to work better in one medium than another, or?
I think it's mostly color.
Oh, okay.
It makes me see something.
Okay. So it's the color in association with that image of what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You do quite a bit of human figure subject matter, but another important vein for you is subjects that relate to Indian beliefs like Corn Mother or Little People. I know you do a wide range of animals. Do you think your subject matter has changed over the years?
No. It has mostly to do with nature.
How about your the fact that you moving from Oklahoma to New Mexico? Sometimes the environment will change the way you look at your art. Do you think that's been much of a factor?
No. No, I don't think it influenced me at all.
Mm-hmm. As you're down from 3 assistants, I guess, to 1 assistant now. Can you explain kind of how that works for you, what your assistant helps you with, and you can tell us about a little bit about that.
Well, that I've gotten older and I've got Parkinson's. It's that I need some help with the heavier things, or I need to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that there's somebody there that I'm teaching while I'm at it.
Right. So are you, in the beginning, did you sketch a lot, Charlie, when you were doing your preliminary concepts? Is sketching very much a part of your sculpture, or do you just work directly?
Oh, I sketch.
Mm-hmm.
I get some ideas.
Mm.
I get ideas at night, and the next morning, and I'll make some sketches so I don't forget.
As soon as you wake up, you
Yeah.
make your sketch.
And then some things I just start making it right away. I already know what needs to be done.
Without a sketch. Yeah. What role does story play in your work? Do you have stories for your sculptures?
All of them.
Okay.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get them out of me, and sometimes you can't.
Does that just depend on whether you feel like sharing the story or not?
I had a blind man buy 5 pieces at one time. He couldn't see them, but after I got through talking to him and explaining them to him and letting him feel them all over, he bought 5 of them.
Oh, wow. What a neat experience. Looking back over your career, are there any awards that you consider more important than other awards?
No, I don't think so. They all came at the right time.
Uh-huh. What do you think was a turning point in your career, an important turning point?
I can't remember what it would be.
Mm-hmm. How about something that was kind of a high point in your career that you look back on as a real high point?
I guess is when I won the Indian Arts and Crafts Award the second time.
Yeah, because
And when somebody finally won it for the second time, I told them, "Welcome to my world."
Because I think there's only 2 of you, right?
Yeah.
That have won it twice in a row. What was one of the low points in your career?
Haven't gotten there yet.
But you've faced some challenges with this Parkinson's.
Yeah, it's slowed me down a little bit.
Is your creative routine pretty much
Oh, I can still get all kinds of ideas. Too many.
7 days a week, right? Up every day, ready to go into the studio. Are there any brand new media or formats that you're thinking about working on in the near future that you haven't tried yet?
No. None right now.
What advice would you give to a young Indian sculptor that was just starting out in the business?
You know, when you're in business for yourself, you got to be a bookkeeper, promotion, and new ideas all the time.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes artists don't want to deal with that bookkeeping and promotion.
Well, they better learn.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. Did you ever, at a competition, you know, because the use of precious, or, you know, gemstones and such with your metal sculpture, because of the way you incorporate them, did you ever have a piece at a competition where somebody sort of wondered where it belonged in terms of categories?
Yes.
When was that? Just some of the earlier shows, or?
I remember there was a judge that told me, he says, I remember that we explicitly said that there would be no kind of plastics. And he says, what do? Show up the next time with a plastic sculpture. He said, but we had to give it a prize.
Do you remember what show that was?
It was one of the IACA shows.
Okay. And it was it like a fiberglass?
Yes, fiberglass.
Uh-huh. Was it a horse by chance?
Yes.
I think I remember one of those really nice fiberglass horses. Is there anything that we've forgotten that you'd like to add before we take a look at your sculptures?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, we're going to switch focus here, and what I'll have you do, Charlie, is talk about the sculptures individually.
This is called the blue corn.
Blue corn.
And the material is sheet bronze and bronze tubing. And it's fabricated out of 50,000 sheet bronze and several different sizes of tubing. And I start right on the base is lava rock, and it comes from the middle of the earth. And I start the roots. And this Native American corn can grow anywhere. And I started the roots to show that that's a way of life. It's hard, but this corn is a staple for the Native Americans. And it goes on up, and it comes to the fruit of which sustains life. And the top tassel is religion. They use it in ceremonies, the corn pollen.
That's great.
This is the cast bronze, and it's about 9 inches tall, and it's called Little Feather, and it's a little female pony. She's real ornery. And every other week they have to have a giveaway and give her away because her keepers don't want her there no more. When they first see her, they think she's so pretty. But she's ornery. She opens all the gates, knocks over the outhouse, breaks the fences down, chases people. So next time they have a giveaway, they give her away.
And this would be, can you explain, Charlie, about a giveaway? This
is performed at gatherings to honor your friends or your relatives, and you give them gifts that honors them.
And do you have a kind of series of her? Is she a recurring figure, or is this?
Yes.
I thought so. I thought I recognized. So is this just one of her stances, or are they all?
No, they're all the same.
Different variations. Okay. You know, just on the subject of that horse, Charlie, did you ride horses growing up?
Yeah, I used to ride horses for people that came to the giveaway, and they found out they got a horse and didn't have no way to get it home.
Yeah.
I could ride it home for them.
Okay, you want to tell us about your sculpture here?
It's a mythological stories about little people. Just about every tribe of Native American people have stories about little people. And the Cheyennes call them Miskache, means little people in the grass. And this is one of them that I created. His name is Bugs, and he paints bugs and little insects. Their job is to see that all the insects and flowers and little animals have the right color on them.
And the leaves too in the fall, right?
Yes.
And I think you've got...
That's his palette.
Oh, okay.
It's got his color on it.
Standing on his palette. I think we'll kind of move it towards us too, so we can just see that lady. It's a ladybug. That's just some wonderful detail. Some pretty big ears too, huh?
Yeah, my grandmother was a very religious person. She read the Bible every day, and she was almost a charter member of every church in town. And whichever bus came to the house first is the one church we went to that Sunday.
I see. So this here is a wood sculpture.
I think I've been saved in just about every denomination there is.
You covered all the bases. Yeah. So what was the inspiration for doing this piece, Charlie?
The title of it is Forgive Them.
And it's an Indian Christ figure. Some beautiful detail there. The musculature on the chest, everything's just, you know, the ribs, and just so beautifully detailed. And the face. Was this pretty long undertaking? Did it take you?
No.
No? Pretty quick, huh?
No, this is one that I made a sketch of. And knew the measurements were pretty easy.
Do you, is it one that you knew you were going to keep for yourself?
No.
Oh.
I planned to give it to a church, but I can't find a church that wants it.
You're kidding. I know some Indian churches in Oklahoma that would probably.
Well, I tried one.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. All right. Well, thank you so much, Charlie, for your time today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.